you may see books here, but this is not a book haul, okay? I just have no room for them anymore, and they are now being stacked in my room at this point because I have no more room. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Katie, and from the title of this video, you know what we're doing. It is time for a new recent reads video. Now, usually I do 4 books in my recent reads because it's an even number and it's less books and I can talk more because she's a talker. I like to talk. But today I do have 5, so we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, so if you enjoy recent reads, be sure to give this a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new and if you like book content. But yeah, let's just get into my most recent reads. Okay, so if you're new to my channel, what happens is I read about 4 books and then I will do like a video on them. How the video goes, I will start with my first book and work my way up to my most recent book. I will give you the star rating. Now, my star ratings is 3, 4, 5 because I don't like giving 1s or 2s, because who am I to say that a book is a 1 or 2 when it could be like your 5? So I don't do that. 5s are absolute faves. I will reread it. It was absolutely amazing. 4s are good, but I will never probably reread it. And 3s are like, eh, to me. But just so you know how I do my star ratings. Okay, so we're going to start with the first book that I read, which was back in the beginning of May. And that was From Blood and Ash. And I have my little Goodreads here, so if I'm looking down, it's because I have notes, because I'm getting smarter with this. So From Blood and Ash is a fantasy. It's a new adult fantasy, I would say, rather than like a young adult fantasy. I'm putting it in the new adult fantasy, but it is by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I would reread it. I would reread it, and I'll tell you why. Because I discovered a new fictional boyfriend in that book. If you know, you know. And I will tell you if you don't know. His name is Hawk. He's a great person, and I love him now. So, thank you to Jennifer L. Armentrout for making him. But yeah, a little bit about From Blood and Ash. So Poppy is a maiden in this fantastical land, which basically means she's like the chosen one. She was born with like a veil over her face, which can happen in the real world. My sister was actually born with like a veil over her face. So maybe she's the maiden, because Lord knows I'm not. Anyway, so in this world, maidens are destined to be alone. Like, they cannot be spoken to, they cannot be looked upon. She is always wearing a mask. No one talks to her unless it's like her royal guard that she has. Well, she has like 4 of them always with her. But there's also in this land like an evil force that is like rising from this kingdom that was supposed to be gone like many, many years ago. And I'm pretty sure the guy that they're like afraid of is called like the Dark One, and they make like these type of creatures. In my head, they sound like vampires, but they're not. But they're basically vampires because they have like 2 big fangs and they, you know, vampires. But they're not. But they are. And basically, they need her. So the bad guys are always trying to get her. Her parents have died from these creatures, so she's staying with the Duke and the Duchess of this land. And the bad guys try to kidnap her, but she has been like trained by one of her royal guards to like be able to fight back. So she's able to fight back, but one of her royal guards dies in the process. She needs a new royal guard. And guess who she's gonna get? None other than Hawk, who is chef's kiss. Hawk. He is everything, okay? And turns out they had met at the beginning of the book because she was just like tired of her life. She wanted to go out, have some fun, so she went to the pub. Of course, she had her mask on so no one could see that was her. And her royal guard from when she was little comes in, and she's like, crap, he's gonna recognize me no matter what I'm wearing. So this lady's like, go upstairs, it's fine, you can stay in the room until he's gone. The room's empty. Now, when I think of these rooms, I think of like the old Western saloons where you know what goes on upstairs. That's what's going on upstairs. She goes to this room, and lo and behold, it's not empty. Hawk is there, and he thinks she's completely someone else that was supposed to be meeting him. So she's got the mask on, and they talk and they kiss. He gives her first kiss, and they have chemistry. And so, you know, these weeks go by, and then he becomes her royal guard, and she's like, well, I can never say anything because he's going to recognize me. He's going to know that it's me, blah, blah, blah. Turns out he already knew it was her. Okay, that's the reason why he took the job. But anyway, things happen. It's a great, fantastic fantasy book. There's a plot twist. I'm not going to say anything else because then I would give it away, and I don't want to give it away. I want you to go in and read this book. It's big, it's long, but it's worth it. Just go enjoy yourself. If you're a fan of A Court of Thorns and Roses, I believe you'll be a fan of this book too. Okay, so after that book, I read The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I think that's how you say it. I'm getting better. That's how I'm pronouncing it from now on. Okay. And this is a thriller book, and it was a 5 out of 5. I loved this book. I loved this book. Fantastic book. Now, we're going to talk about his next book here in a little bit. It wasn't a 5-star, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But The Silent Patient is about a woman who shot her husband 5 times in the face, and is put into like well, I guess it would be in America, it would be like an asylum, because she just does not speak. She has not spoken since that night when she murdered him. And this psychotherapist named Theo is very interested in the case. He feels like he can get her to talk, because like she's famous for the murder, and she was also famous beforehand because of like she was an artist. So he's like, I can get her to talk. I'm going to fix her. And from there we just go into the story, and that's basically the story. But just know it's an amazing story. It's got so many plot twists, and it was so good. It was such a good thriller. I absolutely enjoyed this book. The author kind of has a background in like psychology, so you get that perspective of like from a psychological point of view, which I enjoy because of also my background with psychology. So amazing book, 5 out of 5. It's not scary. It's just, it'll keep you on your seat guessing, okay, what really happened? Who really did it? If it wasn't her. It's an amazing book. Definitely give it a read. The next book I read was also a thriller, and I received this from NetGalley as an e-arc. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, because I loved No Exit by Taylor Adams, so I had very, very high hopes for Hairpin Bridge, okay? I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know if my expectations were so high from No Exit. This one just didn't live up. I gave it a 4-star, and I gave it a 4-star like lovingly. So maybe it could have been a 3.5. Right now on Goodreads, it's a 3.71. So, I mean, you take it as you will. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, but just know to me, it's nowhere near as good as No Exit. So this is about a girl named Lena who is a twin, and her twin sister Cambry died by apparent suicide 3 months earlier, and she believes that it wasn't suicide. The police that found the body said that she had jumped off this very famous bridge, and she decides, well, I don't believe it because she would never do that. So she goes to that bridge and to interview the policeman that found her to see what really happened that night. And that's kind of about as much as I can say. The story takes place in the span of one night, just like No Exit does, which I think he does well with that kind of like forte of doing it all in one like night. However, this book was, to me, confusing because I felt like the narrator was unreliable, because Lena is telling the story to us about what happened from her point of view, about what she thinks happened. So we're getting Cambry's point of view of what happened, but from Lena's perspective, if that makes any sense, because she is writing like a story as this is going on. So she's writing the story as she thinks the events happened. And then when you do find out what happened, I was still like, is it really what happened? Because you never hear from Cambry exactly what happened, because she's already dead. So you have to take it as, okay, well, did it happen? I don't know. It was good, but it wasn't like on the edge of my seat, me having to read this to find out what happened. I was forcing myself to finish this book. No Exit, I was like, I needs to know. I kept reading that book. This book was like, I'm just pushing my way through. And it got weird, and it got, it's like, just read it and let me know what you thought, because to me it just wasn't as good as No Exit. And I think by the ratings, people would agree with me, but that could just be because No Exit was just so high up for me that this one, I just had too high of hopes. The next book that I read was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and I gave this book 5 stars, and I'm so surprised that this only has a 3.86 rating on Goodreads. Like, what? Okay. This is a romance, and it was so cute. Like, I have never read a Talia Hibbert book before. This was my first one. It was so cute. I love it. I can't wait to read the other 2. The smut in this book was just, she writes like, it wasn't like dirty, but it was like a little dirty. Like, I was like, okay, I'm 32 and I'm still blushing, because it was nice. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's more than like Christina Lauren type of writing, but it's less than like Katie Roberts. So it was like kind of in the middle. More close to more Katie Roberts than Christina Lauren. But anyway, Chloe Brown is a woman. She's a voluptuous woman living in England. She's an African American, and she's just living her life, okay? She's trying to live her life because she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and she just kind of quit living for a while, which was something I could relate to. So I was diagnosed with a mental illness when I was 11, and it just kind of stunted like life for a very long time, because a lot of people just like kind of left. They left Chloe Brown too, kind of just abandoned her and went on living, and she just kind of stopped for a little while. So that I could relate to. And then she has a near-death experience, and she's like, what am I doing with my life? Like, her life flashed before her eyes, and she has no life, and she's like, what am I doing with it? So she decides that she's going to do something about it. So she gets a list, and I'm going to read you the 7 things that she puts on her list. The first one is to like move out of her family's mansion, because they're well off, you know, and she just wants to be able to live on her own. So that's the first thing she wants to do, and she does it. And the rest of the list is enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, have meaningless but thoroughly enjoyable sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, and do something bad. So she moves into this flat where the super is this really delectable man named Redford Morgan, and he is, to her, I guess someone she never thought that she would like. But one night he is painting, because he's a painter, we love to see it, and she looks out her window, and like his house is like right across the courtyard, and she's watching him paint. So she feels like she's spying on him, which is like her something bad, and she crosses off the list, and eventually he helps her do all the things that's on her list. And as they get to know each other more and more, sparks fly. It's a romance. You know how this ends, but all I took away from this book is that I want to go camping now, and if you know, you know. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Great little romance, little fluffer in between like terrible thrillers. I'm still baffled by that. And the last book that I've read recently is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. And that one got a 4-star. And that one was, again, I gave it a 4-star lovingly. Because I enjoyed Silent Patient so much. I just, I don't know about this one. I don't know what happened with these sophomore books of these authors. I don't know. But, here we go. The Maidens is, I wanted it to be spectacular because it had psychological thrillerness. It had Greek mythology in it. It just had everything that I wanted. It just had everything I wanted, and it just didn't live up to it. If you enjoy a slow burn, this is for you. And when I mean slow burn, I mean it does not get going until like the last 100 pages of this book. I mean, I didn't know who the killer was. I didn't know up until they told us, but still, it's very slow. The Maidens is about a woman named Marianna. And she is a psycho group therapist, and her niece is in Cambridge University, calls her, says there was a murder. Can she come up and just kind of like be there with her? Because it was her friend and she needs kind of like, you know, some support. And she's like, yeah, I'm there in a minute. I'm there, I'm gone. So she goes up there and she just kind of sticks herself in the investigation, and she's got a lot of stuff going on anyway. She's dealing with the loss of her husband, and she went to Cambridge with her husband. That's where they met. So a bunch of old feelings stir up. And she just kind of sticks herself in the middle of the investigation to figure out who did it. So that's basically it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it again from like the psychological point of view because there's a lot of that in there. There is an Easter egg for Silent Patient. If you've read Silent Patient and you haven't read this yet, you will notice a character's name in there. So I did enjoy that. I enjoyed the little like callback to the Silent Patient, which was nice. But all in all, I don't know what could have made this book any better though. Like, honestly, it's got a 3.81 on Goodreads. And I know why. I can understand why. Some people don't like slow burns. This, like, in the beginning of this book, the first kind of like sentence like pulls you in. You're like, oh, well, I want to know more. Here's the first sentence. Edward Fosco is a murderer. Well, now I need to know. Dang you for writing that as the first sentence. Because I'm thinking it's going to be an amazing book, and it just wasn't. It didn't hit it. It's missing something, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know what could have made it any better. But if you've read this one, let me know down below. Because honestly, I really don't know what could have made it any better. I'm just sad. I'm sad because I wanted both of these books, both of these thrillers to be so good, and they were so bad. But that is it. That is my recent reads. Currently, I am reading The Cruel Prince just to say that I read it and to see what all the hype is about. But right now, y'all, it's a thing that's going. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have read any of these, let me know down below. What were your thoughts? And what are you currently reading? Is it something I should read? Because I don't know about this Cruel Prince. But yeah, all my social medias are linked down below. As always, if you'd like to follow me there, because I post on there more than I post on here, because it's just easier and I'm lazy. That's just the way it goes. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Stick around. Join the family. I don't have a name for my family, but it's just my family. I'm almost at 200 subscribers, which I'm very surprised at and very happy, and I thank you guys for subscribing. But I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. My computer turned off. It's like, yeah, shut up. Stop talking. I get it. I talk too much. So in this world, mating. Freudian slip, mating. Okay. And the last book that I read lately was The Maidens by Michael. No, it wasn't. It's not Michael.